Let's get into it. So I'm going to get my quick commentary or quick review actually on the Belle Collective. Okay. It's going to be episode 5. Let's get into it. So yeah, y'all, the ladies meet out. Carrie decides to have a crawfish roll, which I love, love, love. And she invites the ladies to come out and fellowship with her, especially after the whole situation at the pool party. Okay. So Carrie has a nice spread going, crawfish, all the things, the bread, the mustard, all the things sitting down, and the ladies come up, and there's Marie who comes first. Letitia shows up, and they're chit chatting, and she asks her how she felt, and Letitia basically just expressing that she's struggling and all the things, which is natural because she was just served a bunch of extra, read all about it. So they're talking, and then Selena and Marie finally show up, and they're just all chit chatting, and again, Letitia just kind of expressing how she felt away. Now, in this scene, I thought it was funny and it was cute because um, Carrie drops the crawfish on the ground. Baby, she scooped that crawfish up and she ate it immediately, and I was like, "Ooh, yucky." Now I like her, but I was like, "Girl," but no, I'm not gonna be able to do that. But I just got that was so funny to me how Letitia looked at her like, "Girl, you gonna eat it? Oh, okay." That's a girl, so she keeps it rocking. But she's so funny. Carrie's a funny girl. She's bougie, but she's not, right? All that damn. That was so funny. But then they're sitting there, they're kind of eating, and it was cool to see Selena there. And again, like I said, Marie was there, and Marie was looking at her like this is unsanitary. And she was being bougie and all that, but it did look but then it looked a little different. But then, if you've been to a crawfish bowl, that's how it's done. It's literally laid out on the table or wherever you have, and you pick it up and you break it, eat it with your hand. You suck the head, suck the tail. That's how it goes. So the way she did it, the way it was going down is, to me, is the way that if you're from Louisiana, then that's the way it is done. So that didn't seem weird to me. I just thought it was what it was. Okay. I just thought they were just so funny. They were just so funny. But then then the girls sitting there, they're chit chatting and carrying on and da 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 da. And of course, everyone's like asking Letitia how she's doing, considering everything that happened at the pool party. And you can tell she is still struggling. She's still struggling about everything that happened. But what I will say is that I do love how Carrie stood 10 toes down for her, and she was like, "Girl, I got you," because I guess she has a women's brunch coming up, brunch on purpose, okay? And you know that the show literally was based around business women who are powerful, who are strong, who are very pronounced in the community. And she normally has the brunch. The brunch is for women, and that's what it's actually all about in the first place. So yeah, and so that's her main purpose. But she basically was saying she was, I think, about like 80%. So I could see why she was struggling. I would have been struggling too, because this takes a lot of you emotionally and everything else. And even though this is a show, like this is her real life. So her and the Glenn situation, exactly. I'm sure it's draining her. I'm sure it's draining her. But again, I do love how Carrie is 10 toes down and definitely there with her, supporting her. She said she would help her with the brunch. She got her. She said, "You show up with your lashes, your this, your that, and I got you." I love that. So the ladies are sitting there, as in Selena, Letitia, Marie, and then of course Carrie, and they're chit chatting. And then Carrie brings up the fact that, "Hey y'all, I'm planning a trip to the coast, and on that trip, I'm also going to treat you guys. I'm inviting you guys to come eat at my restaurant and all this, that, and the third," which was a really cute situation. So that's what goes on there. And then yeah, and then we move on to our girl Tamra. So Tamra, I think, is one of the cutest ones. She's so cute. And I remember Tamra back in the day when Tamra first came on. She used to wear a little hat, and I remember her wanting a husband and a child. So when I see her now with her cute little daughter, Miss London Simone, honey, I think she is cute as button, and I love that for her. But she's sitting there having a conversation. Well, first she's sitting there playing with the baby, and then Desmond, or I believe it's Desmond, her husband, walks in. He's been working all day, I guess. He has like a second or third job or doing something. He was having a friend, but the point of it is he was working more than one job. He was trying to make extra money. And their thing, their biggest, sounds like their biggest issue is that she is transparent with the finances. She is prepared. She's ready. She stated it, I'm ready to go. I prepared to have my daughter. I can take care of her. She already has things in place for their baby. Now he, on the other hand, he doesn't want to talk about it. He's private. All the things. She don't even really know why he's working. So like, she don't know why he's working all these jobs. She don't even know why. Like, what are you working on? And he's like not really telling her. Now I'm gonna say this: love them together, cute, cute. However, shouldn't they have talked about this job before they got married? I don't know, because then it goes, what is he hiding? Okay, I ain't knocking him. I just, maybe this just, it could be how he was brought up. It could be that, because some people are brought up different. When I say that, they have different money habits and behaviors based on how they were brought up and what they were taught as young adults. So, clearly Tamara is a saver, and she's going to be prepared. And she basically mentioned that he kind of was off the cuff. So yeah, they kind of touched, and then they were talking about that. So it sounds like that's their biggest thing. But like I said, they're cute, cute, cute. But we'll see. They do make it appear like Desmond's hiding something from Tamara. So I guess we'll find that soon enough. But she did say she was gonna go on the trip and stuff like that with the ladies. So she kind of referenced that. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with her and her little glasses and all the things. But the baby is a cutie, absolute cutie pie. And I do again love her name. Again, London Simone, which is cute, cute, cute. So then, y'all, we roll into, honey, let's go back on Latrice and Cliff. So Cliff buys Latrice some dinner. Now, this particular scene was funny to me. Latrice walks in, honey, with her little dress, and Cliff calls her the ballroom dress. And I'm not gonna lie, I was wondering where was she going as well. And Latrice said, honey, this is my soft girl era. I said, well, get it, Latrice. So yeah, it was cute though. It was cute, cute. If you know, you know. It was giving feminine. I think I liked it as a woman. I think it was a cute thing, cute situation. They sit down and she's looking at him like, what do you want? What do you need? And what did you do? Because he got her dinner. It was a nice little spread. So I know while they're talking, and they're kind of talking about, they're gonna have to talk about the pool party, and she kind of touches on it, and then she just says, they're talking about has she spoken with Letitia, because she's saying she was invited to the on the trip to go on the trip with the girls to the coast, but she feels a way because of the pool party, how everything ended and everything that went on. She feels a way. And the other part, she said she was calling Letitia, but her Letitia is not answering her phone. I'm gonna tell you, I wouldn't answer my phone either. Why? What are we talking about? Girl, I wouldn't answer my phone. I'd be like, girl, bye. I wish you would have to give me some space and some room, because all that hit hard, and Letitia's hurting, and Letitia's probably don't know if she can trust her or not. And that's probably part of it, because some of us, we get distant when things happen. Like, nah, you shady girl, you stay over there. So she said she wasn't talking to her. Then they kind of have a little chit chat. They nibble, nibble, nibble on their food. And then, so basically, Latrice says, hey, yeah, I'm going on the trip. And when you get back, she asked him first, where are you going to be? He turns to her, and Cliff tells her he's going to be at the condo. I said, girl, bye. You're going to be where again? At the condo. At the condo at Taze. That's what he said. I was like, are you serious right now? Again? Child. So she tells him, when I get back, you need to be at this house. And he goes, He says, no, He says, you're controlling. There you go, they're controlling stuff. Now, I thought that was really weird and strange that he called her controlling, because she wanted him home. When she got home, I thought that was weird, but okay, whatever. But he says where he gonna be. I mean, at this point, you might as well move in. I mean, that's just my opinion. I really am side-eyeing Cliff. He may not be doing anything, but why is he distancing himself? He's definitely distancing himself from her. You can write all that down. I still think that's weird. However, they kind of go there, whatever. That's clearly they have not resolved anything. He's talking, and then she gets up and she kind of shuts it all the way down, and she's like, "Yeah, you better be here when I get back." And I'm like, "Ooh, child!" And so that's kind of how that scene kind of ends. I guess to me, they really didn't get anywhere. I don't. To me, that conversation didn't get anywhere. I really do think that Cliff gonna be what Cliff gonna do. That's in my opinion. Okay, all right. So then, honey, Carrie takes her husband to the next scene. Carrie takes her husband to show him the place that she got for the ladies, shows him all the rooms out on the coast. It's a very nice situation. And there's one issue, and because it looks nice, right? The issue is, honey, there's only 4 rooms and 6 women. If you know that you know that you know, 6 grown, everybody over the age of 35, grown women, baby, we don't like to share rooms, okay? However, there were 4 rooms and 6 women. Now, the funniest thing about the conversation that Carrie was having with her husband was, I think his name is Matt. Don't hold me, I can't forget, but I think it's Matt. He said, well, why don't Latrice and Letitia share a room? Excuse me. I was like, y'all setting this mess up. When he said that, I said, everybody tripping. Why? Did y'all think they want to share rooms? I don't think so. I wouldn't want to share a room if I was Latrice or Letitia. Mm-mm. Especially Letitia. But nevertheless, I thought that was a whole setup in real time. I thought that was a setup. I ain't gonna lie. And I know Carrie wasn't trying to set anybody up because that's a girl, but okay. Anyway, it was a cute situation. So she shows Carrie shows it to her husband. They walk around and so on and so on and so on. So all the other ladies meet up. We roll forward. They meet up. They pull up and they're waiting for the sprinter. The girls pull up in the car. You see Selena jump out. Tamara jumps out, and Maria. Everybody meets up at the spot. So the sprinter, to pick them up. Everyone was there with the exception of Carrie because Carrie was already at the actual location where they were going to be staying. She was already there, which makes sense. She was getting everything ready. And so Tamara made a thing I think that stood out for me is Tamara made a comment. She says, honey, it's not my business to tell Letitia about her husband. I said, ooh, girl, I don't know. But that's what she was saying. That's her whole spirit she was giving. Now, I will say too, I did like the pink outfit that Selena had on. I thought it was cute. If you know, you know. In the in between scenes, I think she looks really pretty in pink. And I like the red that most of the other ladies were wearing. Cause I think Tamara had on a red outfit. You know, in between clips when they're speaking, that's what I'm talking about. I know I'm talking fast on this, but this is how I roll when, yeah, especially when I'm going through the show. But anyway, moving forward, moving on. Basically, they get on the sprinter. All the ladies are there, so all 5 ladies are on the sprinter again, with the exception of Carrie. And Letitia's talking about all the things and how she's feeling, and she says, "I just want people to stop playing in my face." Now you're gonna hear her say that multiple times. So she said it. Now you know she was speaking indirectly to who? Latrice. And Latrice was sitting up there by herself, you know. I mean, she was sitting with them, but like in her own little row. And she was like, she was tired of people talking, you know, basically playing in her face, which I was like, oh, child. This is absolutely the theme. She said, stop playing in my face. Okay, so anyway, y'all, the girls get there. They pull up in a little sprinter, and they get out. And then Carrie and the bartender meet them with a nice little drink situation, which I love. As they were coming in, they had little swag bags, and it was a whole thing. Carrie's face was on stuff. Whatever. It was extra. Read all about it. It was real cute. I love it. So I was loving what Carrie was giving. If you're gonna bring in a bunch of your friend girls, this was definitely the way to do it. It was real cute. So the ladies come in. Now you already know. We talked about what her and her husband talked about these rooms. So the girls are there. This is nice, Carrie. This is nice. And everybody's walking through and da 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 da. The girls are going upstairs, and then they realize, honey, that you can see the look on Carrie's face, like, here we go. Yeah, well, we have a problem. There are 4 rooms and 6 ladies. Well, you know, if you know that you know, honey, you know, grown women, we don't like sharing rooms. Okay, y'all? Because you know, when women, especially at a certain age, we want our room, our own space. But however, there were only 4 rooms. Well, they decided to go from the oldest to down to the youngest. And guess after they did all that, the youngest came down to who? Latrice and Letitia. I said, well, shut the front and the back door. How did that happen? Nevertheless, I thought that is not gonna work. So Letitia and Latrice are standing in the room, and I think to myself, baby, this ain't gonna work. And Letitia let them know. She let him know. I guess I need to get a room or something because I am not standing here with her. But anyway, she said just Letitia said I will sleep with Marie, which to me made only sense. Now my question here is why didn't the ladies like volunteer to sleep with each other in the first place? I mean, no one wants to really share a room, but people like Letitia and Marie, they're already besties, so they're more comfortable. You know how it is when you grown, you don't want to share, but you will put up with your bestie. She's all right. Everybody have different bed hygiene things is different. So, everybody don't want to sleep in the same room. Let's be very clear. But she said she would sleep with Marie and for whatever she'll be fine. But she definitely ain't sleeping with Latrice. I wouldn't stay with Latrice either. And Latrice honestly should have been scared, honey. Like, did you really want to sleep in the room with Letitia? Nah, I don't think so. Not for all this gear. Go sit down now. So yep, so that's how they went down, and I guess Latrice was in there with their little bunk beds. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. They kind of, in my mind, they kind of did her dirty. Y'all gotta think about it. That's kind of messed up. I know you only have some of the rooms, but these everybody else had nice, comfy beds, and she had a bunk bed. Anyway, bunk beds are not the same as a full size, nice, flush bed. It is not. Anywho, I just thought that was like, I thought to myself, now what y'all saying? That was kind of but we know they did it by age, but it whatever. It just kind of looked like a little bit like they kind of were playing in her face. But anyway, that's just me observing. Okay. So then y'all they start the next day. She said, get ready. And then they head out to the Gator Farm. Now the Gator Farm is definitely a cute situation. Well, it ain't cute to the women, but it's definitely something different for they're probably not accustomed to it. I think the only one that were kind of adjusting well was Selena because Selena loves pets and animals and all that kind of stuff. She was into it, but everybody else was like ew and ah and That's all you could hear. And then that Selena was sitting in between. For some reason, Selena ended up sitting in between Letitia and Latrice, and she was like, "Baby, they ain't saying nothing, they ain't talking, ooh wee." But anyway, they get through. They make it through. They make it through the whole Gator Farm. But it was a cute situation, even though they were tripping. They were acting like ew and all. So then, moving forward, the ladies end up. Obviously they got to go eat. They go to dinner, and they end up in Miss Carrie's restaurant. Okay. And it's a cute little situation. Guy comes out. I don't remember his name. He greets the ladies, and they start out with raw oysters. Now, as you could tell, Marie Honey it was not feeling the raw oyster. She was like, "Is this all we're eating?" Ew! Like she was like, "Ugh." It's so funny because I keep saying that because Marie's face was so funny to me. Her face was tore up from the time they started talking about the trip. Every time, I think the only thing she didn't tear her face up on was when there was a handing out drinks. That was so funny to me just to see that her expressions was funny. They were very, very funny. Anyway, so she clearly can't eat that. And I heard her say she had I don't quote me. I think she said she had lupus, but y'all don't quote me. If you watch her, you already know. We're just gonna say allegedly because I don't remember honestly. But I know she had something that was that compromise. It was that compromised her immune system. Okay, all right. So moving on, they're sitting at dinner and this and the third, and they talk about the whole brunch coming up the next day. And that's Letitia's whole jam because the whole point of the reason the show, the Belle Collective, came together is surrounded around powerful Black women, and she likes to bring people together through brunches and things like that. So the brunch is part of her purpose as in Letitia. So it's a big thing. So that's a big thing for her. But again, Carrie is there. I got you, girl, which I do love the sisterhood. And I love Carrie. I love that for them. Now let's keep on pushing. Now we sitting there, and we had to get to it. So Letitia really says it. She's the one that really brought up the pool party. And I said, here we go. You know, it had to be a dress, y'all. And so basically, they talk about it and this, that, and the third, and um, so you know, things kind of end up being directed toward Latrice, and I know she wasn't surprised. She was looking around like, gosh, I think she said like I only had like one drink and I ain't got a chance to get my drinks in before we get started. Like, ugh. So they did get started in, and Letitia said what she's being saying, that she said she felt like she was ambushed. She also said that she said she didn't like anybody playing in her face. Remember, she said that earlier. And she said that earlier. So we've heard this whole, it's a whole theme. She feels like everyone, particularly in particular Trees, and have been playing in her face. Now I will say that Latrice said, if Latrice did respond and go, she goes, well, if I'm playing in your face and your husband playing in your face, I mean, baby, everybody said, what now? People are clutching they imaginary pearls. I was like, ooh, does she say? Yeah, she said, if I'm playing in your face, your husband is playing in your face. Now, if that wasn't a word, I don't know what was. I was like, wow. So yeah. So that was a thing at the dinner. That's one of the most important phrases that was actually said at the table. But the other part of the conversation, besides the fact that she says she wasn't playing her face or she wasn't trying to play on her face, is she says that she didn't know the questions. Because I ain't gonna lie, that was one of the main things at the party. I mean, at her pool party, like, didn't she? I thought to myself, didn't she know the questions? But Latrice said she didn't know the questions. Some people say they believe her, some people say they don't. But it seems like the ladies believed what Latrice was saying, that she didn't know the questions. So there's that. And she just said, you know, she wasn't trying to ambush her. But they talked about it, they hashed it out and talked about it. And then one of the main things that happened is that Letitia asked Latrice outright, do you know anything about my husband that I need to know, or that you've heard, or da 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 da? And then they kind of paused. So kind of a cliffhanger, kind of left us hanging. And I was like, and there was a big pause, honey. She ain't said a word. She's looking like, okay. So I think Latrice probably don't know what to say. Of course, she knows some things, but if she says anything else, I mean, I don't know. That's putting her in a bond. And honestly, in this particular scene, I felt like Latrice was being almost ambushed or put in the hot seat, and maybe she deserved it because the whole situation happened in her house at her pool party. But it got a little hot, a little heated at dinner, though. It was a little drama, but we weren't surprised by any of that because it had to come out. But to me, at the dinner party, they really didn't resolve a lot. All they did was establish that Latrice didn't know the questions that were going to be asked. Okay, and so that's kind of where we are. That's bringing us all the way up to where we are. And then, you know, they kind of showed us clips of the upcoming episode. And, you know, it's getting hot. The temperature's getting hot, you know. And apparently there's going to be a conversation between Letitia and Latrice, where Latrice is like, we keep going in circles. I keep telling you, I'm sorry, and I didn't know. And then so Latrice is asked Letitia where we stand now. So that's what we're looking forward to hearing, and that's where we're leading up to. So it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes. Um, but again, for me, the best line or the thing that really stood out in this entire episode was the fact that Latrice said, if I'm playing in your face, your husband playing in your face. I don't know, that stuck with me because I'm like, girl. So that's what stood out to me. And clearly, all of the ladies, all of the couples have their own situation or their own drama going. But as you know, the biggest and the drama that stands out the most is definitely the light is shining on Miss Letitia. Anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think. Are you on Team Letitia or the Team Latrice? Let us know. Team Letitia or Team Latrice? Because that's where we are with this, in my opinion. Anyway, y'all, we're gonna keep up. I'll let y'all know. We'll come back and we'll talk about the next episode. Okay. All right, y'all. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to vote. And yeah, thanks for coming through. Bye, smooches. See you next time. Bye bye. Okay. See ya. Bye bye. I'm trying to get out, y'all. It's so funny. I was Xing out on this video. But anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Thank you. Thanks for coming through.